What up? What up? What up? Welcome back, Still Broke Podcast. Marcus Moore on the mic, Encyclopedia Black, here with another one. Don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom of the screen. We still broke in this piece, so help us out. We got to stay out the brokenness. Today, obviously, we want to just chit chat real quick on this Caleb Williams situation. We're going to be talking about this much throughout the draft process here. But with Caleb Williams and the Bears having a number one pick, they have a decision to make on whether they keep Justin Fields or whether they go with Caleb Williams. And the one word that gets thrown around a lot with Caleb Williams is generational or once in a decade guy. Now, let's keep in mind the last time we had that guy was Trevor Lawrence. And you know what? You guys have your own opinion on him at this point in time. But when we use the term generational, I just got to ask, what does that mean to you? Because to me, if he's generational, that means that he's the guy. There's nobody else close. That he really is Patrick Mahomes. Like that's that guy. Like it's Patrick Mahomes and it's everybody else. But I'm confused by the draft experts when they tell me this because on one side of their mouth they tell me that Caleb Williams is a generational, once in a decade prospect, and then the other side of their mouth they tell me that he's not even the number one prospect on their big board. So when I look at ESPN's big board here, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number one ranked overall player. Then Caleb Williams, then Rome Odunze, then we got Drake May, Malik Neighbors, and Brock Bowers, so on and so forth. But Caleb Williams is not number one. So let me get this straight. If Caleb Williams is a generational, once-in-a-decade talent, then how is he not the number one player in the draft? The number one overall player. Like when we talk about Patrick Mahomes, we don't sit here and say he's the best quarterback, but this guy's a better player. No, we say he's the best player in the league. And it's not close. Like he's by himself and everybody else. That's a once-in-a-decade generational player. So if you're telling me Caleb Williams is that guy, then how was he the number two ranked overall player in the draft by ESPN? How? Doesn't make any sense. Also, I hear other draft analysts, well, you know what? I think when it's all said and done, we're going to find out that Drake May or Jaden Daniels may be closer to him than we think. Well, then again, is he generational or not? Because if he is a generational once-in-a-decade player, then I am not worried about a Drake May. I am not worried about a Jaden Daniels or anybody else that's in this draft. They are not close to him. They are not second. The second place finisher here is 50 meters away. Like, this is a blowout. Like, you're not in the screen when I finish my race. If you're a generational and once-in-a-decade guy. If that's who you are. So I don't understand where we are here. Like, if Drake May, according to the draft analyst, if Drake May or Jaden Daniels are close and it's a conversation with whether or not you want Caleb Williams or not, then he's not once in a decade. He's not. Now, if there is no question whatsoever, not only am I not even talking about a Drake May or Jaden Daniels next to Caleb Williams, but he has to be the number one overall player coming out. He has to be. There cannot be any question on this. So I feel like the draft analysts are talking out of both sides of their mouth here, and I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Now, my stance on Caleb Williams is that I do think he's going to be a really good player at this level. But we are starting to hear other draft analysts say, hold on, pump the brakes a little bit. We had Merrill Hodge come out. He was a guy who said, look, Johnny Manziel ain't that guy. He was also a guy who said, Jadeveon Clowney is not that guy. You take Khalil Mack ahead of Jadeveon Clowney. He was right on that. He was also the guy who said C.J. Stroud was the best quarterback in last year's draft. He was right on that. So Mel, he's had some misses too, but Mel has had some hits on some high-profile guys. So he came out, Merrill, not Mel. I apologize. Merrill Hodge. He came out and said that Caleb Williams is not special. And if you think you're getting Patrick Mahomes, you're not. And he went on to say how inaccurate he was on the run and based on the RPO game that he runs in college, which he's not going to run here in the NFL. But he also said he's only halfway through. He's watched 3 games from last year, 3 games from this year, so he's 6 games in. So he will watch if he's halfway. I'll add another 6, so it'd be 6 more games. He'll watch 12 games. So that brings up the question with Caleb Williams. Is he that guy now? Is he a can't miss? Because for the Chicago Bears, he has to be that. This is not a situation where you're sitting here saying to yourself, well, he could possibly work if this and this and this go right. No. He has to be a cannot miss in your situation because you do not need a quarterback right now. That is not your need. Your need is not quarterback, okay? You have a quarterback that you underdeveloped, but that has a very similar skill set than the guy that you're trying to get. But actually, the guy in the room that you have is a bigger, faster, stronger version of the guy you're trying to get. Now, the guy you're trying to get, Caleb Williams, if you want to say he has a little bit quicker release, I'm okay with that. If you want to say it has, a more fluid throwing motion, I'm okay with that as well. But what I keep hearing from everybody is that, man, the spectacular, man, the dynamic plays. He has the ability to make the dynamic play. I heard Dan Orlovsky today saying he has uncoachable traits. So does the guy you already have in the building. You're going ahead and describing the exact same guy you have in a building. That's what you're doing. You're describing a guy that has uncoachable traits, which is Justin Fields. You're describing a guy who has a dynamic, who makes plays that almost nobody in the league can make, or we can count on one hand who can make them, which is Justin Fields. We're talking about a guy who we say, listen, there's nobody more dynamic in the league at that position. Now, there may be guys as dynamic, but nobody is more dynamic than what Justin Fields is at his position. So you're describing the same guy you already got in the room. So I'm not telling you not to take Caleb Williams. If you want to do that, Chicago Bears, go ahead and do what you got to do. But what I'm saying is this, is that now as these draft analysts are starting to come out and starting to watch the actual film, they're starting to see the same things they saw with the guy you got in the room. And the only thing you keep telling me is that, man, the off schedule and the dynamic. Well, guess what? The guy you got, the off schedule and the dynamic, that's what he's best at right now because he was underdeveloped for 3 years. So what are you exactly doing at this point in time, Chicago Bears, if you go with Caleb Williams? Like, what are you getting that you don't already have? Because the guy that you got is all those things you keep describing to Caleb Williams. So I haven't listen, I watched film from I don't want to say a fan's perspective, more from a perspective of I've seen the TV copies, put it like that. I haven't jumped into the all 22 and all that on Caleb Williams. But again, I do think he will be a good player on this level. I do. I think he has top 10 potential, but I also feel the same way about the guy in the room. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're describing the same guy, if the same traits are coming with the same guy, if you keep saying, oh, well, he's got to work on this. Caleb hasn't taken a snap under center. He's been in the RPO game. He turns down throws. He's not I wouldn't even say a quick processor because I don't know that because of the offense, but he's not a guy that you snap it, you get it, you catch it, and you rip it. That's not who he is or who he's shown to be. That's not who he has shown to be. Now, could he be that? I don't know. But as we looking at from college, that's not it. Also, not the guy that you got in the room right now. What you keep telling me is that he is dynamic in the off-schedule, off-script plays. Well, you know what? You already have that. And if you have that, then trade the damn pick. Trade it, and you get Marvin Harrison Jr., who's the actual number 1 overall player in the draft, according to ESPN. That's what you do, and then you accumulate other picks. Because at this point, based on the skill set, the chances of Caleb Williams being a gigantic gap between him and Justin Fields under the same circumstances, I just don't see it. And again, listen to what I said, under the same circumstances. Because when you keep telling me, listen, the Bears are a good place to go, it's going to be better because he has more weapons, you'll be able to develop a franchise quarterback because of the weapons, well, why can't you do it with the guy you already got? Why can't you do it with him? You're not going to sit up here and convince me that that kid is sorry. You're just not going to do it. I refuse to believe it. And listen, I have eyes. I know a ball a little bit. I got a little bit of background doing this. And you're not going to convince me amongst all the other players that I've told you to stay with Justin Fields that he can't play football. So all I'm saying is this when it comes to this. If you are looking to upgrade with Caleb Williams, if you think you're upgrading, how much are you upgrading? Okay. Is this a BMW to Mercedes where it's like, you're not really an upgrade, it's just personal preference? Or you think you're going from a Toyota to a Mercedes, which you're not. So which one is it? Be careful with that now. Because again, what we keep hearing is off schedule and dynamic. Well, guess what? The guy you got, off schedule and dynamic. So I don't know, Chicago. I don't know what you're going to do, but you need to figure it out. But it sounds like to me that the guy you're trying to get sounds a whole lot like the guy you already got, except he has 3 years of experience under his belt. And right now, you do not have the time, based on your coaching situation, you do not have the time to play around and figure it out and see if he can play, or the timetable on that he has to learn the game and learn the NFL game and learn the. You don't have that type of time. Not with this team, not with this coaching staff, and not with the front office. You don't have it, because if these guys don't win this upcoming year, they may all be fired. So you better make sure he is a cannot miss. He is a can't miss. Not it could work, but it might not. Not this time around. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Still Broke Podcast. We out. I'll catch you on the next one.